I believed devotion was the cost of kinship. Each midnight conversation, every cent transferred, every aspiration I postponed to support them. But at 32, in my siblings' garden, clutching a worn-out greeting card from a journey I was excluded from, I understood I'd been their phantom, called upon solely when they required assistance. The revelation wasn't merely a pinch. It scorched like an inferno, consuming all I held true. I'm Ethan, an audio technician who devoted his days blending others' tunes while my own remained unspoken. My flat is a tiny space in Seattle, where precipitation taps on the panes like an uneasy pulse. My existence once seemed stable. Jobs, performances, regular chats with my folks in Tacoma. I'd arrive at their messy home carrying a pack of ale or a dish of pasta, assuming it bonded us. Yet there was always this discomfort, a strain in their tones, a glint in their gazes when I'd inquire about their schedules. Mom, Dad, my sister Claire, my brother Owen, they were my foundation. I go to great lengths for them. When Mom's joint pain drugs became costly, I wired $700 without hesitation. When Claire required a fresh computer for her illustration freelance work, I took extra hours to fund it. Owen's bike failed. I transferred $1,500 via app, no inquiries made. I figured that's what siblings do, support one another. But flaws appeared. The manner Dad shifted topics when I spoke of my ideal vacation to New Zealand. The way Claire's chuckle seemed strained when I questioned her days off. Small breaks accumulating like overdue payments. Recently, I discovered the card. It was hidden in a pile of letters at Claire's home, a shiny image of a bay in Norway. On the reverse, a message in Mom's script. Memorable voyage with the crew, names noted. Mom, Dad, Claire, Owen, their spouses, their offspring, not me. My gut sank as if I'd stumbled in shadows. I remained there, the card shaking in my grip, and questioned why was I left out. Claire stiffened, her drink paused en route to her mouth. Dad cleared his throat, gazed at the barbecue. Owen grumbled, Ethan, it's no major issue. But it was. That evening, rest evaded me. The card tormented me, its bay shining beneath my nightstand light, my omission louder than any melody I'd ever arranged. A recollection ignited, piercing and undesired. I was 12, pleading for a camera to film brief movies. Funds are limited, Ethan, Dad stated, his tone abrupt. 14 days on, Owen received a fresh video game system. I suppressed it, convinced myself it was insignificant. But now, reclining there, my pulse raced. What else had I overlooked? The following day, I retrieved a container from my wardrobe. Aged correspondences, instant photos, music compilations from my adolescence. I settled on the timber flooring, the surface chilly on my limbs, and scattered them. A snapshot from 2008, Claire with a new stargazing device, grinning. Owen with a skate deck, Mom's palm on his arm, me grasping a used sweatshirt my grin forced. I explored further. A clan skiing outing in Whistler. Apologies, Ethan, you had exams. A getaway in Napa. Oh, it wouldn't suit you, too upscale. Season after season, the trend emerged, sharp as shattered shards. They'd been omitting me, not accidentally, but intentionally. I reviewed my payment app records, scanning through eras of exchanges. $800 for Dad's pressing home fix. $2,500 for Claire's venture debt that stayed unpaid. $4,000 for Owen's marriage ceremony, while I attended in a borrowed suit. And the one that devastated me. $5,000 dispatched 9 months prior, my New Zealand savings, vanished to handle Mom's medical visit. The identical period they reserved that Norway excursion, I leaned rearward, my respiration uneven. They hadn't simply excluded me, they depleted me, but additional revelations awaited. I messaged Claire. I spotted the card. I stated, maintaining composure on the line, why was I absent? Her quiet lingered, then a feeble justification. We assumed you were overloaded with shows, Ethan. You're constantly laboring since I was financing their existences. I concluded the discussion, my digits quivering. Owen messaged afterward, you're exaggerating this. Contact Mom, she's distraught. I disregarded it. Then the onslaught commenced. Mom, tone faltering, you're shattering our spirits. Dad, firm. After everything we've provided, this is your behavior. Even Aunt Linda, whom I encounter annually, recorded a message. Ethan, your mom's collapsing. Avoid this. It seemed they'd rehearsed identical tactics. Remorse as their tool to draw me in again. But each note clarified it. I was their reserve power source, their crisis reserve. Never their sibling, never their child. I encountered my closest pal, Marcus, at a cafe, the sort where the coffee brewer sizzles like an alert. He settled in the seat, examining me. You appear devastated, he remarked, passing me a coffee. I shared it all. The card, the funds, the years of being marginalized. He reclined, his gaze sharpening. Ethan, I've seen you exhaust yourself for them. When did they ever appear for you? I attempted a reply, but the phrases lodged. The quietude was a dagger. I ceased responding to their communications. My device illuminated like an alert beacon. Mom, Dad, Claire, Owen, even remote relatives. Each note was a version of the identical narrative. You're reacting excessively. Kinship is paramount. Don't abandon us. I restricted them sequentially, my finger pausing over each title before erasing. It resembled extracting threads from an injury. At the workplace, I confided in my colleague, Leela. Mine did likewise, she mentioned, her tone gentle, made me believe I was insane for observing. I began consulting a counselor, Dr. Ruiz, who absorbed as I unleashed 32 years of anguish. Ethan, she stated, her look unwavering, this isn't kinship. It's an exchange. That term, exchange, struck like a mallet. I wasn't merely overlooked. I was a safe, pried apart until vacant. I returned home and extracted a music compilation from age 13, selections I'd captured on an inexpensive tape recorder since I couldn't purchase a proper one. The container reeked of synthetic material and longing. I followed the tag, my youthful handwriting, for New Zealand. I closed it away, my torso constricted. I was finished awaiting approval to exist. 7 days later, I consented to convene with them at a beer tavern where the atmosphere carries notes of grains and wood. Marcus accompanied me, his attendance a subtle barrier. Mom, Dad, Claire, Owen. They occupied a lengthy bench, expressions trapped between optimism and guard. I brought a journal, its sheets weightier than the decades they contained. We merely desire this resolved, Mom uttered, her tone unsteady. We're kin. Dad affirmed, his digits tapping the surface. Claire contributed, you're so self-reliant, Ethan. We didn't assume you'd care. Owen remained mute, fixated on his brew. I unveiled the journal and pushed a record over the bench. This is each cent I've dispatched since age 20. $48,623. Invoices, credits, excursions I was barred from. I placed a chronology next, a chart of timelines. These are the holidays, the gatherings, the instances you excised me from. 32 years, commencing at age 8. Lastly, I positioned an image of a camera I desired at 10. The one Dad claimed was excessive prior to acquiring Claire a keyboard. And then, the fact I hadn't perceived until that period. 9 months back, I declared, my tone subdued, I aborted my New Zealand journey because you claimed Mom required an operation. But no operation occurred, right? Mom's expression folded, Dad's gaze lowered. Claire's cup rattled firmly on the surface. Owen's mouth firmed, but he voiced nothing. You utilized my funds to finance that Norway excursion. I declared, the phrase crisp as ice. You deceived me, pilfered my ambition, and excluded me. The tavern fell silent, drinks halting midway. Mom's cry disrupted the calm, but it wasn't for me. It was for the reality they couldn't conceal any longer. I departed that evening, Marcus beside me, the journal abandoned on the bench like a sealed entrance. I altered my contact, terminated the joint profile, reserved a flight to New Zealand. The initial occasion, I'm selecting myself. My kin remain present, dispatching notes via acquaintances imploring my return. But I'm finished as their phantom. I gaze at the music compilation on my ledge, still intact, a memento of my past and my future. If you'd invested your existence in individuals who only extracted, would you depart? Or would you attempt to pardon them? Share in the comments. I must confirm I'm not isolated.